Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, other gendered individuals, friends. Oh boy, what did I knock over? Oh, wait. Friends, colleagues, comrades, small fluffy animals. Welcome to this episode of the podcast. F major added second chord. I am your host, Miles White. This is an album review. I think back when I reviewed Changer, episode 5, whatever, I mentioned the new Tim Darcy record, Saturday Night, which was coming out, which I was excited for. So now, I came out, I listened to it a couple times. Now here, fresh in spring, or in fall, I guess, if you're in the southern hemisphere. Here, fresh in spring, I have thoughts on it, I have thoughts. Tim Darcy, for those of you who don't know, he is the vocalist and guitarist for a post-punk band out of Montreal called Ought. They write this herky, this sort of jerky, very aware music, you know. Occasionally there's weird time signatures. There's one guy who plays a violin sometimes. It's all very art rock, you know. But it's good. It's good. They have some pretty good jams. In 2014, they released More Than Any Other Day, which included the song Habit, which is still probably one of my favorite songs. And certainly one of the best of that year. And then in 2015, they released Sun Coming Down, which More Than Any Other Day was a little more cloud-like, a little more experimental in places, a little more. Whereas Sun Coming Down was a little more, it was more song-focused. It was tighter. It was more energetic. It had a better momentum to it. And they write good songs. They're a good songwriting outfit. So here we have Tim Darcy stepping away from that unit to do his own songs. He has himself written for his own purposes. Now, he's a good songwriter. Saturday Night, Jaguar Records, 2017, has some great songs on it. The singles are great. There are lots of, comparisons floating around to various, 50s, 60s pop acts. Roy Orbison comes up a lot. I think he was from the 60s. Roy Orbison comes up a lot when people talk about Still Waking Up, which is this woozy sort of liminal pop song. And he has Tim Darcy, this woozy liminal pop song. It's very, it's structured around these very simple, these repeating patterns, as pop songs are. But it all fits. It all fits, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. And his phrasing is so good. People talk about Roy Orbison. I don't know a lot about Roy Orbison. He reminds me of Morrissey, actually, in that song and a few others. The phrasing, the geometry of his voice and the way he uses it is very effective. He usually has this very declamatory style when he's working with Ought, and is good for that very statement-y music. But I feel like Saturday Night is a little more abstract, is a little more emotional in its imagery. And the tenor that his voice takes suits it. He almost croons on Saturday Night during, he almost croons during Still Waking Up, during Joan Part 2, during, I guess, the second part of Tall Glass of Water. And you know what? It's good. It's good. Tall Glass of Water is also really good, and so is Joan Parts 1 and 2, and so is the instrumental First Final Nights, which it closes out the first half of the album. Then you get to the second half, and oh boy. I don't know what to make of the second half. He sort of lets his experimental side reign, and you can see glimpses of it on the first half. First Final Nights is sort of this skewed instrumental, and Joan Part 2 in particular is this swirling, this almost underwater take on a ballad. But then you get to Saturday Night, the title track, and it has no momentum. It just sort of just plods forward weightily, and there's this bowed, I don't know if it's a violin or a bowed guitar. I'm told it's a bowed guitar. But it's just this harsh and grating noise, and he goes back into his declamatory style. But he doesn't have the fire that usually propels alt songs forward. He doesn't have that fire with him, and the song suffers for it. And then you have Found My Limit, which is just this broken folk loop. And he sort of croons through that too, but Found My Limit and Saturday Night are these sort of Mobius strip songs. The sort of song where you can start it at any point and then loop it back to any point, and it just doesn't really feel like it has to be forward. It doesn't go anywhere. It's like one of those old gospel songs where you could start at the beginning, you could start in the middle. It doesn't matter because the level of energy, the level of movement, the parts, it's all just the same clattering thing heading towards the 4-minute mark. And then you have a couple more skewed pop songs in the vein of Joan Part 2 that get towards the end of the record, but by that point the album's lost its momentum. It's lost the focus that it had. And when he's sharp, he's sharp. That's the thing about the record. When it's on, it's on. But when it's off, when it drifts off into this sort of unfocused nether space, some albums, some artists can carry that, and this record, this artist can't, for me at least, to my knowledge. Which is a shame, because like I say over and over again, the straight up pop songs, and even the warped pop songs, you know, your Joan Part 2, your Saint Germain's, are pretty good. And that's it, honestly, that's it. He's very adept at, you know, taking his influences and combining them into good, useful shapes. The album's best when it's most coherent. That's my end line for this. I gave Changer a B, but I haven't listened to Changer in about a month. So I'm not really good at this rating system. But if Changer got a B, then Saturday Night has to get like a C+. The singles are good. Listen to First Final Nights if you're in a weird melancholy mood. But other than that, exercise your judgment. The more willing you are to listen to him, you know, sort of get his experimental noodle on, the more you'll like the album's latter half. Unless, of course, your love for experimental noodle reduces your appreciation of the pop songs. That's always going to be the dichotomy, isn't it? But that's my take on Saturday Night. When it's good, it's good. And when it gets weird, if it were all a pop record, it might be monotonous, but it wouldn't grate on me, and it wouldn't feel like it does at times, like a bit of a letdown. But Tall Glass of Water and Still Waking Up, really good. But I think that's all I got for now. Peace.